This is Oliver. Oliver is an ambitious young stickman who just landed his very first professional office job. He earns a decent salary of $4,000 a month. Oliver feels a sudden, powerful surge of pride. He believes that now that he is a real working adult, he needs to look like a highly successful professional. He looks at his old, reliable 10-year-old compact car and feels a deep sense of embarrassment. The paint is slightly faded, the air conditioning takes 5 minutes to cool down, and the radio only has a basic Bluetooth connection. Oliver wants something fast, shiny, and aggressive. He wants a brand new, modern sports sedan with leather seats, a panoramic sunroof, and a massive digital dashboard. The next morning, Oliver drives to a massive, glittering car dealership on the edge of the city. As soon as he steps onto the lot, a sleek, sharply dressed salesman named Brian walks up to him with a broad, welcoming smile. Brian puts a friendly hand on Oliver's shoulder and guides him directly toward a breathtaking, jet-black luxury sports sedan sitting under the bright showroom spotlights. The sticker price on the window says $65,000. Oliver's excitement instantly drops. He shakes his head and steps back. "Oh no," Oliver says with a sigh. "I am so sorry to waste your time. $65,000 is way out of my budget. I can only afford a monthly payment of about $400, maybe $500 at the absolute maximum." Salesman Brian chuckles softly and waves his hand dismissively. "Oliver, my friend, nobody pays the full sticker price in cash anymore. Forget about the $65,000 total price tag. That number is completely irrelevant in the modern world. The only number that matters is what fits comfortably inside your monthly paycheck. Let's go sit down in my comfortable air-conditioned office and run some quick numbers." Oliver sits in the comfortable leather chair inside the dealership office. Brian opens his computer screen and starts typing away on a financial calculator. "Here's the brilliant news, Oliver," Brian says, turning the computer screen toward him. "We have a special, ultra-flexible financing program available today. Instead of a traditional 3-year or 4-year loan that forces you to make huge, painful monthly payments, we can easily stretch your financing out to an 84-month loan term. That is 7 full years of easy, microscopic payments. By spreading the cost over 84 months, your monthly payment drops down to just $499. That is under your $500 budget. You don't have to wait 7 years to live your dream life, Oliver. You can drive this magnificent luxury machine off the lot today for under $500 a month." Oliver's eyes light up with pure joy. $499 a month sounds ridiculously affordable for a $65,000 luxury automobile. He doesn't look at the small, fine print at the bottom of the page that lists a shocking 8.5% compound interest rate. He doesn't calculate the total amount of money he will actually pay over the next 7 years. Oliver signs his name on the dotted line, takes the shiny metal keys, and drives out of the dealership, feeling like the king of the world. Oliver is about to learn a brutal lesson about modern consumer engineering. He didn't get a great deal. He didn't beat the system. He just fell directly into one of the most widespread, predatory financial traps in the modern world, the long-term auto loan trap. Today, we are going to expose the hidden mathematics of 72 and 84-month car financing. We will show you how dealerships use monthly payment trickery to hide astronomical interest charges, how long-term loans guarantee that you will end up severely underwater on your debt, and how a depreciating piece of metal on wheels can quietly drain your life savings and lock you into permanent financial servitude. For the first year, Oliver was deeply in love with his new sports sedan. Every month, the bank automatically deducted $499 from his checking account. Oliver paid it without thinking much about it. But what Oliver did not realize was the brutal mathematical reality of amortized compound interest. During the first 2 years of an 84-month loan, almost 60% of every single monthly payment goes directly toward paying off the bank's interest charges, while only a tiny fraction touches the actual principal debt of the vehicle. By the end of year 2, Oliver had paid nearly $12,000 in monthly installments. However, his total remaining debt on the car was still a massive $54,000. Then came the second economic hammer blow: rapid vehicle depreciation. The moment Oliver drove that luxury sedan off the dealer lot 2 years ago, its market value instantly dropped by 20%. Over the next 24 months, regular mileage, normal road wear, and standard market depreciation eroded its value even further. By year 3, Oliver's beautiful sports sedan was only worth $32,000 on the open market. Oliver was now trapped in a dangerous financial condition known as being severely negative equity, or completely underwater on his loan. He owed the bank $54,000 for a car that was only worth $32,000. He was carrying $22,000 of phantom debt, money owed for value that had completely vanished into thin air. Oliver began to feel the financial strain. Inflation made his daily groceries more expensive. His rent increased by $200, and that $499 monthly car payment started to feel like a heavy concrete block tied around his neck. On top of the loan payment, his comprehensive auto insurance premium was an astronomical $300 a month because insurance companies charge significantly higher rates for expensive vehicles with long-term bank liens. Combined with $200 a month for premium fuel and routine maintenance, Oliver was spending nearly $1,000 every single month just to keep this piece of metal sitting in his driveway. Desperate to lower his expenses, Oliver decided to sell the car or trade it in for a cheap, sensible used vehicle. He drove back to the dealership and spoke with a trade-in manager. The manager looked at his computer screen and shook his head with a sympathetic sigh. "I'm sorry, Oliver. Your car is currently worth $32,000, but your payoff balance to the bank is $54,000. If you want to sell this car today, you must write us a personal check for $22,000 in cash right now, just to cover the difference and clear the title." Oliver felt a wave of nausea. He didn't have $22,000 in cash. His savings account was completely empty. He was legally trapped inside a machine he could no longer comfortably afford. Then, on a rainy Tuesday evening, disaster struck. Oliver was driving home from work when another driver ran a red light and smashed directly into the front end of Oliver's sedan. The airbags deployed with a loud bang, and the front frame was completely crushed. Oliver survived without serious injuries, but his beloved luxury car was completely destroyed. When the insurance adjuster inspected the wrecked vehicle, they declared it a total loss. The insurance company wrote a check based on the current fair market value of the car, $32,000. The insurance check went straight to the bank, but Oliver's total debt to the bank was still $54,000. Because Oliver had forgotten to purchase optional gap insurance when he signed his contract, the bank called him the very next week with terrifying news. Oliver was legally required to continue paying off the remaining $22,000 balance immediately, even though his car was now nothing more than a crushed pile of scrap metal sitting in a junkyard. Oliver was completely shattered. He was forced to take out an expensive personal consolidation loan at a 15% interest rate just to pay off the $22,000 of ghost debt for a car that no longer existed. On top of that, he had to spend $2,000 of his remaining emergency funds to buy a rusty 15-year-old hatchback just so he could drive to work every morning. He sat in his new, noisy hatchback, looking at his monthly bank statements. Between his personal loan payments and his living expenses, nearly half of his monthly paycheck was being swallowed by a mistake he made 3 years ago inside a sparkling car showroom. Oliver learned the hardest lesson of his life. When you stretch an auto loan to 72 or 84 months, you are not making an expensive car affordable. You are simply agreeing to pay massive interest fees for an asset that is rapidly rotting away in your driveway. How can a regular, smart stickman avoid falling into the long-term auto loan trap and protect their financial future? You must follow 3 unbreakable defensive rules before you ever step foot onto a dealership lot. Rule number 1 is the strict 24-10 formula. This is the gold standard of sensible vehicle financing. When you purchase a car, you must make a down payment of at least 20% in real cash from your savings. You must never finance the vehicle for longer than a 4-year term, or 48 months. And finally, your total monthly transportation expenses, which includes your car loan payment, comprehensive auto insurance, and fuel, must never exceed 10% of your net monthly take-home salary. If a car does not fit cleanly inside these parameters, you cannot afford it, period. Step away from the vehicle and look for a cheaper model. Rule number 2 is the mandatory gap insurance requirement. If you absolutely must take out a loan for a vehicle, never drive off the dealership lot without securing Guaranteed Asset Protection, or GAP insurance. GAP insurance covers the dangerous financial gap between what your primary insurance company pays out during a total accident loss and the actual remaining balance on your bank loan. It costs a tiny fraction of your overall budget, but it completely protects you from paying thousands of dollars for a wrecked piece of scrap metal sitting in a junkyard. Rule number 3 is the depreciation awareness mindset. Always remember that a personal car is an expense, never an investment. The moment a new vehicle rolls onto public roads, its financial value begins to plummet. If you want to build true, long-term wealth, buy a reliable, 3-year-old used vehicle that has already suffered its biggest initial depreciation drop. Let the previous owner pay for that massive 20% loss. Oliver now drives his modest, paid-off hatchback with pride. He no longer cares about showing off luxury leather seats or fancy digital dashboards to strangers on the highway. Every single month, instead of sending $499 to a predatory auto lender, Oliver deposits that money directly into an index fund investment account. He realizes that true financial status is not about driving a shiny piece of metal that belongs to a bank. True status is the quiet, unbreakable freedom of owning your assets, living completely debt-free, and building a financial fortress that no salesman can ever take away from you. Stay smart, protect your hard-earned income, and never let a long-term loan turn your drive to work into a 7-year sentence.